Hello, hello, hello. You all come in, hit that like and hit that share button. Let me adjust my camera. Yeah, I think that angle is just a little bit better. I think the angle is just a little bit better. Again, come in, hit that like and share button. And I was listening to a um a live stream. I was listening to a live stream and I literally wanted to jump out of my chair. And because I want to tell you this, right? Just because someone makes six or seven figures does not mean that they have futuristic insight about what's going on in this economy. Let me say that again. Just because someone makes six or seven figures does not mean they have futuristic insight about what's happening, what changes are going ahead in this economy. It does not mean that they understand the past, the present, and the very future tense of money at all. And I think oftentimes we try to value the opinion of someone that earns more money than us because we feel like that if we listen to what they say and how they're doing things, that we can be just as successful as they are financially. But let me tell you again, not everyone that's making six to seven figures right now in this economy understands what's going on. They don't understand that we're experiencing a global monetary system reset. They don't understand that this is a global economic reset. They do not understand blockchain technology and central banks digital currency. They are thinking in the formality or in the format in which they are familiar with. But people familiarity right now in this economic reset is changing. It is changing. And it is most definitely about to change. And so I want you all to again hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs up, whatever platform that you are watching in on. That's your do now. That's what I want you to do, number one. Number two, I want you to look in the background and look at my books, Crypto Chris Profits, and support the information technology and blockchain information that I have put in this book in a very simple but profound way. Buy it for yourself, young adults, your children, your nieces, your nephews, your great children, your great grandchildren or grandchildren or your neighbors' children. Visit the website thecryptochris.com. Also, a mindset shift for people who want to get their money back so they can have enough money in this financial system reset to invest and be able to hold on as we move and transition into from inflation into a recession, and then the transition will then transpire from a recession to a depression because this is a global financial system reset. So visit the website, mymillionairenotes.com. You can see both books in the background, right? Now, the fourth call of action is text Rich to keep updates of all my public and private live streams about what's happening in this economy. I just got off of a a tax talk Thursday webinar, for example, informing people that the IRS is adding 87,000 new employees to go after small business owners and six-figure middle class and the poor working middle class, as the IRS stated on the website, that the middle class earnings of $25,000, annual earnings of $25,000 a year is leastly being audited. So they're going after people with fake PPP loan information and application. They've extended that from a 10-year, from a 2-year fraud investigation to a 10-year fraud investigation time frame. Also, those persons earning 25,000. So it's not just for the six-figure upper middle class income earners anymore. it is for the poor working class too. More audits coming their way as well. So watch out for those audits as well. So make sure that if you want to get IRS compliant and certified with your audits, and you want more cash flow, added to your portfolio so that you can invest in assets that will grow and make you join the ranks of the ultra rich in this reset, then text cash flow to the number that's strolling down on the screen, which is 254-788-1144. Within 24 hours, you can get an instant pay raise from the paycheck that you're already making. If you are an employee and you are on the job, get more money out of your paycheck. We've already heard news like Target. Target is saying that, hey, we're not surviving, so we may not see more Targets because more shoppers now are shopping at Walmart, for example, and Dollar General and Dollar Tree stores versus Target. So Target has a mass loss indication of their earnings, expected earnings, and people, again, a global recession. So I'm going to allow you all to come in and listen to this very powerful, and I mean, it was just interview, powerful and profound interview that I'm listening to, that made me say, hey, I gotta hit the go live button. Right? I have to let people hear this, that a new global reserve currency is on the way for BRICS country. If you don't know what BRICS is abbreviated for, let me pull it up on Google to make sure that I am correct. But BRICS is Brazil. Brazil has come together. The BRICS countries are Brazil, um, let me get it right. It's an acronym for Brazil, Russia, of course, India, China, and South Africa. These three countries, I mean five. Hello, you all, and make sure you hit that like button because I'm teaching things that you wouldn't be taught in schools. And if you are not self-educating yourself, right? I work hard but smart. I think I work smarter than harder. But thank you so much, um, because I make passive and residual income. So all the times I'm not working hard, right? Sometimes I'm just probably not in the mood to talk to people that's not on my same um, frequency level, right? But I want to say I work hard. I do work smarter. I do work smarter. So hello to you, hard worker. So this is BRICS. It's an acronym coined after the five major, pay attention to the word major, emerging countries. Brazil, again, we got Brazil. We have Russia, India, China, and South Africa. China and South Africa. Now, these countries have said, and I'm not. You know what? We're just going to watch the video. Let's chime in right now. Watch this video, so you all can hear what's going on and why you need to prepare now more than ever. I promise you. I mean, you really should have prepared a long, long time ago, right? But now, after hearing this information, if you do nothing, if you stay the same, if you remain the same, and your mindset and your financial decisions, now you got Americans working two full-time jobs more than ever. And let me tell you, people, right now, getting more of cash dollars without converting those cash into assets that's going to reset this currency system is going to be the biggest mistake that of an international reserve currency most people will ever make. So let's play this video. Right? Again, you all come in, hit that like and share button and say hello. Hit that like and share button and say hello. Implications of a new global reserve currency for BRICS. For BRICS. Let's listen in at this interview.
Planned by Russia and China amid fears that the US might be facing a recession. Now, the announcement of a reserve currency was made by Russian President Vladimir Putin during the BRICS summit in June. Meanwhile, former US President Donald Trump warns of a depression if the US economy continues on the slow growth path. Associate Professor of African Politics at UNISA, Professor Everesto Benyera, as well as Regin Kosi, who is the Executive Director and the Head of Research on Macroeconomics, Money and Banking at First Source Money, join us for a discussion. Great to have both of you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Leanne. Thanks for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, Reg, let me begin with you. I mean, we speak about a reserve currency as if everybody knows what a reserve currency actually is. So perhaps let's start with the basics here. What exactly is a reserve currency, and why should societies bother with what actually happens in the space when they have this kind of thing?
Yeah, a reserve currency is that dominant currency in which transactions, economic transactions, are mostly used in a region, in a continent, globally. So in this case, we have the US dollar as the preeminent reserve currency. This does not necessarily mean the US dollar itself is the reserve currency. The euro is to some extent, and Japanese yen, but preeminently, the US dollar is that currency which international economic transactions are conducted in. So it becomes a vital cog in international economic governance. Hence, such an important issue as currency reserves being now suggested by the BRICS.
Okay, so we look at that and the dollar is the dominant reserve currency. I mean, in a nutshell, that's pretty much so what it is. But we've got Russia saying, hang on a second, this should not be the case. We should look at our own reserve currency as discussed at BRICS. Is that in basics what the Russian president is suggesting?
Absolutely. That's exactly what the president is suggesting, is because the US is abusing that dominance it has for its currency. So we have what they call the exorbitant privilege that the US has for its currency, being the one that's being used globally. So the US is using that as a tool, as a weapon to whip all those that do not comply with whatever it wants them to comply with.
Mm. And when we look at the state of the US at the moment, and we talk about the US economy, and perhaps, Prof, you want to come in and also weigh in on this, with having the US as a reserve currency, and the threats and the talk of a recession and then a depression, and having the US currency as that reserve, what implications are there? Let's talk about that now.
Leanne and the viewers, good morning, and thanks, Reg, for laying that foundation. Let me politicize a bit, or put it in football terms, as it were. A reserve currency underwrites state sovereignty. So there is usually a link between failed states and a currency. You tend to find states that are failed having no currency at all. So this is why.
So let me update you so far. They're saying that United States is the world reserve currency, right? Russia is saying, why is the United States? They don't think that in China as well, right? BRICS countries are saying, why is the United States the world reserve currency? They are not producing anything. We have more influence as far as our what we're producing and our imports and to the United States, and some more interesting things they're about to unravel or reveal in this interview. So I want you all make sure you hit that like and share button, right, and listen closely.
There is so much talk, so much attention, and so much hype about this reserve currency, because there is a direct link between state sovereignty and a currency. In this case, the sovereignty of the global south, underwritten by the BRICS countries. Secondly, Leanne, we are witnessing a new international financial order in the making. Whether we like it or not, there is a new financial order that is being developed as an alternative to the dollar euro dominated international financial order.
Okay, he just said whether we like it or not, there is new development in the currency that's going on right now with implications or to address the weakness and the lack of production from the United States. But there's new things going on, new implications that's going on that's going to debunk that.
Mainly because of what Reg, a new financial order that is being developed as an alternative to the dollar euro dominated international financial order, mainly because of what Reg has said, which is the abuse of the current system by the United States and its allies. Thirdly, allow me to observe that you cannot separate money from war. The two are interlinked because the most profitable business in the world is a war. There is no war in history that.
So saying this, he said you cannot separate money from war. There is no currency change. I'm going to rewind this. You cannot separate money from war. Let's listen.
Thirdly, allow me to observe that you cannot separate money from war. The two are interlinked because the most profitable business in the world is a war. There is no war in history that has made a loss.
So the most profitable business in the world is war, right? So we see the UK, the Nancy Pelosi visit to Taiwan for no reason, really no legitimate reason, but to go ahead and throw a rock per se at the enemy, and so to get these rivals in this war started, right? Because I can't see a monetary system reset happening without a World War III happening. So you got UK, Russia, right? China, Taiwan. China is releasing its missiles, and China is having financial issues right now in its economy. And so you can't listen. You can't say, "Well, that's China's problem," right? If China economy goes bad, that's China's problem. No, that's United States problem when we are so dependent on their imports. How many times do you go that's into Target and Walmart and wherever you shop at and you see made in China, right? We can't even have fertilizer. The prices of fertilizer is increasing because it's fertilizer is made from natural gas. And now we have Target, aka Tarjay, profit plunges 90%. 90%. So let's listen in. This was a great interview, you all. Get those thumbs up, hit that like, and hit that share button.
This is why Cicero said, money is the soul of the war. So if all wars are profitable, then we can trace the rise of not only reserve currencies, but currencies themselves to war. When the Massachusetts Bay Colony printed the first banknotes in the United States way back in 1690, it was to fund its military operations. Again, in 1914, when the First World War, the so-called First World War ended, that is when we saw the rise of the United States dollar as the global reserve currency. 90, it was to fund its military operations. Again, in 1914, when the First World War, the so-called First World War ended, that is when.
Okay, he's speaking about 1914 when the World War ended. This is where we saw the rise of the American dollar. Again, I do not care who is making 6 to 7 figures. If they don't understand this, if they don't understand Bretton Woods Agreement, 1971, President Nixon, if they don't understand how war brings in currency changes and economic recession and depression, they are not giving you accurate financial advice. And they can even be a 5-figure income earner. If they don't have this financial education and knowledge, they have no futuristic insight about where we are headed. They have no understanding about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and how silver and even gold, God's money, and by constitution is real money. So it must be used for this financial reset. It's going to be used, right? Let me read some comments. US currency backed by war. Pretty much, right? Where we get the petrodollar. So if they don't have a financial education and knowledge of this, they're not able to give you financial advice about the futuristic position of where this economy is headed. They're giving you old, outdated advice, and they're giving you advice that's not going to be useful. Like, for example, if someone's telling you to invest in cash value life insurance when cash is about to be worthless and return back to its intrinsic value. Why would you want to invest in a cash value life insurance that's giving you cash back at deflationary rates? Since 1913, the United States dollar system has declined by 2,000%. And by the day, it is losing more and more of its purchasing power, which means it's able to buy you less and less. Right? So let's listen in. This is a powerful interview. Again, get those likes up, you all. Get those likes up.
We saw the rise of the United States dollar as the global reserve currency, courtesy of the meeting that occurred at the Bretton Woods institutions. So we see a direct link between war and currencies. So what are the implications for the United States if I now go back to your question? Firstly, there is going to be inflation at home. Inflation is going to visit the United States of America. Secondly,
let's pause. Let's pause right there. Inflation, we've seen this inflation is going to visit the United States of America. Now, this is the sad thing, right? People get involved in the trickery, the games that the government plays and the media combined. And so what they do is they give a big spike to gas prices at $4, $5, $6, $7 for premium in some areas per gallon. And then they give you a decline by $2 or almost $2 or more. And mentally in your mind, you're thinking, woo, relief. Gas prices is down. Not even consciously being aware that it's still higher and over $3 with something that you never thought would happen in America. You see how they play the game? See, this is why I have in my backdrop Millionaire Moves, because they are playing poker. So you have to learn to at least how to play chess. Right? They're playing poker with you. This is all a mind game. So now you feel like, oh, we got some relief. $3 gas. Would you ever thought that $3 gas would be in America? See? All right, so let's listen in. Again, you all get those likes up. Get those likes up. So inflation is in America. He's breaking this down.
It's going to be inflation at home. Inflation is going to visit the United States of America. Secondly, the United States is now going to fight in many fronts because remember, there is already a challenge that is coming from digital currencies such as blockchain technologies as an alternative.
What else did he say? A fight is coming from digital currency, from blockchain technology. People, I have thousandaires and millionaires telling me, oh, the United States dollar will never lose its world reserve currency. That would never happen. Oh, we have the best military. We might do have the best military, but we're not producing anything. We are so dependent on the imports, the gas of Russia, the OPEC. As Biden administration has stopped drilling of gas and oil, for gas on American or federal land. Our daily barrels of production that was in the millions is now 748,000 a day versus 3.5 million barrels of oil produced daily. So going into the winter months, going into hurricane season, 748,000 barrels of oil produced a day for the United States is not enough. Now, some people think that around election time in November, we're going to see cheaper gas because they are thinking according to the old mindset. Oh, they always lower gas prices around election time. Is $3 a gallon low to you? I still think going into this winter, we're going to see $10 a gallon for premium gas. I really do. Whether that be the first quarter of 2023 or going into December and Christmas, right? I think we're going to see $10 a gallon. Why? Because they already calibrated the gas pumps to accept double-digit gas prices. Right. But people, because the media and government work together to manipulate the minds of people, when gas used to be over $4 a gallon for regular, they're thinking right now, oh wow, $3 a gallon. Whew. Relief at the pump. People, if I would have asked you January 1st, 2022, if $3 a gallon gas was low, you would have said, hell no. But now, psychologically, because of how the government's playing poker and people are playing bingo and checkers with this, they psychologically think gas is low, even at $3 a gallon for regular. And you have some states that's not even seeing $3 a gallon still, right? So let's listen in.
Because remember, there is already a challenge that is coming from digital currencies such as blockchain technologies as an alternative to the US dollar hegemony. So now it is going to be fighting on two fronts. Thirdly, the de-dollarization, this process that is happening, will expose the reality that the gold that is presumed to be in Fort Knox is not there. And finally,
Ooh, I don't know if you all caught that. Let me see which way I should point. This way. He said the de-dollarization. Did you all hear that? The de-dollarization is going to expose that the gold that's supposed to be at Fort Knox is not there. See, this is where you really learn about money. This is where you really get a financial education. Now, if you're asking me, Queen, what do you mean gold at Fort Knox? This mean tell me you don't know. This tells me that you don't understand money, right? That you do not understand money. And this is why many people work for cash dollars. They don't understand the taxation system. He said there's no gold at Fort Knox. And this is why people don't understand the power of a home-based business and how to get 470 tax deductions. Versus, listen, if you want to be a S Corp or LLC, if you want to be a hustler and do your own business, that's great. But if you don't have a home-based business to complement that, you are losing thousands of dollars. And with these new IRS inflation tax changes, small business owners now are going to be hit harder now than ever. If you're not understanding that gold and silver will be used to reset, and this is the greatest wealth transfer that this generation has ever experienced, right? Then I cannot help you, because it takes a financial knowledge of the past to understand where we are going in the future. So let me rewind it so you can't say that you missed him when what he said about Fort Knox.
Technologies as an alternative to the US dollar hegemony. So now it is going to be fighting on two fronts. Thirdly, the de-dollarization, this process that is happening, will expose the reality that the gold that is presumed to be in Fort Knox is not there. And
he said the de-dollarization will expose the reality that the gold that is supposed to be, presumed to be, exactly what he said, presumed to be at Fort Knox is not there. It's not there. Thank you, Anthony. He shared the information twice. Thank you for sharing. Right? Queen, do you know that the Donald Trump supporters believe the US dollar will be backed by gold if Donald Trump becomes president again? I have always believed Fort Knox gold is not there. Because when I was younger, the news used to show the gold. Now they don't. That's a great, great fact. That's a great fact. If your pastor preaches this, then good kudos to your pastor, because it's a lot of pastors that's not teaching this because they don't know it, right? They don't know it.
finally, the US veto at the IMF and the World Bank will become obsolete.
All right. So it's so interesting because.
And finally, the US veto at the IMF and the World Bank will become obsolete. And finally, the US veto at the IMF and the World Bank will become obsolete. That the gold that is presumed to be in Fort Knox is not there. And finally, the US veto at the IMF and the World Bank will become obsolete.
Will become obsolete. The US, let me replay that. It will become obsolete. You don't know what that means? That means obsolete. That means return to its intrinsic value of 0. So let me replay this.
All right. So it's so interesting because I want to. I think we need to take a little bit of a history lesson here.
And finally, the US veto at the IMF and the World Bank will become obsolete.
All right. So it's so interesting because I want to. I think we need to take a little bit of a history lesson here as well to find out how, in fact, the US dollar became this reserve currency. Because, I mean, if we go back, like you say, war, it brings about these things. But I mean, if we go back to 1971, the world left the gold standard, and that was basically where it was. Gold was that reserve currency. And the US announced that they're no longer going to be converting dollars to gold. So the question is, why was the gold standard abandoned? And how did the US dollar become this almighty reserve currency? Who determined that? And at the same
Now, I thought this was the most profound question of the interview. She said, how did the United States dollar even become the world reserve standard? And why was the gold standard abandoned, or world reserve currency? And why was the gold standard abandoned? Thank you so much, 757 Trucker, for that $10 support and super chat. The statement is, I have 51 ounces of silver rounds and still stacking. John F. Kennedy tried to back. Oh my God. You don't even want to get on. And you know what? Until your $10 super chat. Genesis 1. I mean, not Genesis, but I'm so excited. Deuteronomy 1 and 11. I speak over you that the Lord thy God, the God of our ancestors, will bless you. And they came with two promises, and increase you 1,000 times more. And as you give the $10 super chat, at even my website, right, Crypto Queen 1111. But I got to pause for the cause because you are a supporter. And listen, you see the numbers in that executive order: 5 ones, 5 ones, right? So he did. And this is why I tell people at $24 an ounce, and I have my website on the bottom, is that people are sleeping on silver for under $30 an ounce of silver. They are sleeping on silver, how silver will be used in this great reset. How silver, because right now we have gold that's about $1,800-$1,900 an ounce, right? But at $24 an ounce, people, you can get more bang for your buck, more return on your investment in silver. And silver serves two purposes. It's going to be used for industrial use, where you got Tesla, electronic vehicles coming in, catalytic converters, calculators, 5G Wi-Fi. I mean, come on, blockchain technology has to have 5G Wi-Fi, RFID chips, phone batteries. Even the poorest of countries will have phone batteries. So 5 is the number of grace, and multiplied by itself, 5 times 5 is 25, which means grace upon grace. You find that in John 1, chapter 1, verse 16. The double 11 in that, right? 5 symbolizes God's grace, his goodness, his favor towards humans. And so JFK wanted sound money for people, and the removal of unjust or obstructions of justice and suppression of unlawful combinations. And guess what the date is? As I mentioned, John 1:16. This was June 11th. There's the 1111 code again. And so he wanted the return to silver for the backing of money, to remove obstructions of justice, right? To enforce the laws of the United States within that state, and to bring back that sound money. And we all know what happened to JFK once he wanted to bring that in. So again, thank you, 757 Trucker. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat. And so let's get back to this interview. Very powerful, again, interview that I'm listening to about the BRICS and a new global currency is coming, right?
Time. How do we determine that the US currency will no longer be the reserve currency? Because it has been for a long time. But how do we stop that from happening?
Is that for me?
Go for it, Brett. Jump in. Yes. Apologies. You go for it.
Thank you very much. Just a bit of correction there. What happened in 1971 was that the Bretton Woods system got abolished. The Bretton Woods system was such that the dollar itself was pegged to the gold, and the rest of the currencies were therefore fixed or pegged to the US dollar. And the US dollar began to be a currency of reserve as early as 1940s. Actually, the Bretton Woods institutions, when they were being formed around 1940s, 1945, that's when the UK British pound lost its reserve currency status towards the US. And therefore, the US emerged as one such currency because of the economy was quite strong and it was sponsoring much of the development in the EU as we speak now. So yes, it emerged therefore as such a currency. And in 1971, the demand for gold by France from the US became clear that the Fort Knox, as my colleague puts it, had no gold at all that be given.
Okay, so let me break down what he just said. He said in 1971, when France came and they was coming on their warships, I asked a worker at the pawn shop after learning this, and I went to the pawn shop to look at some silver. This was about 2 years ago when silver online was sold out, right? You remember that when C19 first came in 2020, you could not go on any online dealer like JM Bullion, HD Bullion, and purchase silver. So I went to my local pawn shops to see what silver they had. And we were discussing this story in 1971. France came on its warships. They saw that the United States dollar was declining in value, and they wanted their gold back because the United States was supposed to be protecting other countries' gold, as the other countries would exchange its services and resources and commodities for the United States dollars. And Fort Knox and France saw that the United States was printing more dollars, and they were like, this is not healthy, right? It's about supply and demand. The United States is printing too much dollars, and we want the gold back. We want our money back. President Nixon, United States, got wind of it, or other word, they heard it, and they immediately, if you listen to that video by Nixon in 1971, he stated, and I may play this, that this was supposed to be a temporary. It was not even supposed to be a permanent thing. And guess what? It's become permanent still up to 2022. See, this is how much people don't know the history and information about money. So he did this in August of 1971. He made this announcement, and this was supposed to be a permanent change of backing. And he said this was to prelude the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement, right? And this was his announcement. And I asked the workers at the pawn shop, I said, well, why didn't Spain and France, why they just didn't come over on a jet, right? They could have got here faster. He said, well, they couldn't travel back to France on a jet with gold. I was like, oh, yeah. Gold is too heavy, right? Or for a plane. I said, why didn't they come in their warships and airplane? He said, well, they had to come in warships because, you can't fly gold back. They had tons and tons of gold that they wanted. And they told the United States, here's your trash cash. We want our gold. And he's saying that exposed Fort Knox, or exposed that the United States did not have the money then in Fort Knox. And they was willing to just go to war for it and change the law because the military base was so dominant. So let's finish listening in, right?
As we speak now. So yes, it emerged therefore as such a currency. And in 1971, the demand for gold by France from the US became clear that the Fort Knox, as my colleague puts it, had no gold at all that be given to each country that would demand it. Therefore, the President Nixon, abandoned the gold standard backing, and all currencies became fiat.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, therefore, given the dominance, therefore, of this dollar status, and countries are emerging, in fact, starting around 2009, when President Dmitry Medvedev of the Russian Federation suggested that since the crisis of 2007-2008, the US was becoming the very unreliable partner in global affairs. Therefore, there's need for us to begin to explore ways in which we could have a new financial order. It began then.
Yeah.
And then today, BRICS is moving pretty fast to ensure that it has a reserve currency which is dependable, which is not subject to the whims of one country. And therefore, here the BRICS are coming up with this new system.
Okay, so let's kind of dumb it down again even more. I want to know who actually decides on something like this, because so you've got the US. This is the reserve currency. I mean, when we see it, I mean, Prof, you spoke about a failed state, and you know the dollar automatically comes in. I mean, we look at something like our neighboring country, Zimbabwe. I mean, this is what happens. This comes in, but who makes the decision that the dollar won't be that currency anymore? Because there are so many complexities in geopolitics. I mean, at the moment, when we look at war with the Europe and the Ukraine, I mean, all of these things that are going on there in Russia, we now see this visit that's taking place, we see Nancy Pelosi from US moving and going and visiting Taiwan, and there are massive tensions now between the US and China. So there's definitely a big global shift taking place. So who decides what this new currency is going to be, what the implications are for a new global reserve currency, and can we rely on an economy like Russia, for instance? Because Russia, with all of these sanctions against it, yes, of course, they are holding up very well. But when we look into the future, are they still going to hold up very well? Let's perhaps look at that. Prof, do you want to talk politics, currencies, and who determines what that next reserve currency is?
In simple terms, Leanne, who determines what then becomes the global reserve currency is the strongest among us. Mm-hmm. So again, we are back to the issue of war in the Middle.
Okay, he's going to start talking about the war. But because we can't not just skip over this, right? We can't just let it fly over our head. They asked him, well, who's going to be this new world reserve currency? And he said, the dominant is going to be the strongest among us. Now, United States do not have gold in Fort Knox. We're not the strongest. Donald Trump, during his presidency, revealed more than ever that we're not producing anything. We're not producers of anything. We rely too much on the imports, and this is where the sanctions talk came in, of other countries, of Asian countries, of China and Russia. And now President Biden's come in, no more drilling on the United States or the federal land. So we're dependent upon OPEC and Iran and Russia for its oil reserves, on the natural gas of Russia for its fertilizer. And something I'm going to bring up, an article that shows American farmers are killing their own crops and selling cows because of this extreme drought. So now we have HARP, which is weather control. And the United States cannot drill on this land because this is biblical. And I'm not saying that biblical prophecy is coming to pass like most people look at it, because most people that say that, they don't know the writers of the Bible. When most people say this is biblical prophecy coming to pass, they think in terms of that is God's judgment on America. No, it is the writers of the Bible, because most people don't know the original Bible within itself. The original Bible has never been found. Only copies of the Bible. So when you say that biblical prophecy is coming to pass, then you should find the original source from which the Bible was then taken, and excerpts of the Bible was put in, and some of it was even inserted by man, that things that man is implementing, that's even in Revelation, that man put in, is going to come to pass from this day. So when you study Kemet spirituality, you know that from ancient Kemet is where certain biblical foundation comes from, and other biblical scriptures was inspired by man. And I'm not talking about the disciples of Jesus Christ. Most people don't even know the origins of the name Jesus, because the letter J is a little 500 years old, a little over 400 years. So they don't even know the origin, the original name, and the concept of Jesus. And then they don't even know the word Christ is from Kemet spirituality, which they teach about the Christos. And so many times they look for external sources to save them. But when you study Kemet spirituality, it teaches you that the kingdom of heaven is within, and that you're supposed to come look for the sources from within, where we get the old saying, to thy own self be true. To know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and to know that ye are God's. But that's on a whole nother concept. So when people say things like, oh, this is Bible prophecy come to pass, you don't know what you're saying, because you don't know those excerpts in the Bible that was manipulated by man years ago so that man could bring this to pass. So let's listen in. They said, well, who do you think is going to be? And let's hear this answer. Who do you think is going to be this new world reserve currency? See, people don't know the origins of the Bible, right? They don't know. They don't even know the power that they have within. And that's the whole point of religion. So that will never be revealed to you. Like, we have the power within our own body to mine certain energy, frequency, and vibration. And even cryptocurrency can be mined from the certain melatonin and the own frequency and vibration of our bodies and higher level thoughts of thinking. They don't want you to know that. Right? All right, so let's listen in. Let's get back to this. That was just my spiel about religion, but let's get back to this.
Military. And if we may link it to Africa, there are very strong arguments that the main reason why the Colonel brother leader Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated was because he was championing the use of the gold standard, or the gold coin, as.
Let's look at that. Prof, do you want to talk politics, currencies, and who determines what that next reserve currency is?
In simple terms, Leanne, who determines what then becomes the global reserve currency is the strongest among us. Mm-hmm. So again, we are back to the issue of war and the military. And if we may link it to Africa, there are very strong arguments that the main reason why the Colonel brother leader Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated was because he was.
Now, he said the strongest among us, who will determine the new world reserve currency. And then he goes on to Mama Gaddafi. I can't pronounce that. He goes into the assassination of this person. Why was this person assassinated? And this is why. Let's listen in why he said this person was assassinated.
Strong arguments that the main reason why the Colonel brother leader Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated was because he was championing the use of the gold standard, or the gold coin, as a central currency for African countries. But that is a debate for another day. You asked a very.
So this person was debating the gold standard, the gold, and was assassinated for African countries. And he goes on to say, but this is the debate for another day, right? So let's listen in.
Important question: who determines and how do they determine it? I think there is something that is called leadership. When leaders decide to abandon one paradigm and shift to another, it then causes seismic shifts. For now, we see that China, India, Iran, and Turkey, among themselves, they are already trading in their currencies. What does this mean? that they are side.
You all, this was so good. He said they are already trading in their currency. Did you all hear the nations that he said are already? And you actually have people that's telling you, oh no, the United States dollar will never lose its world currency status. And he just broke it down that they're already trading in their currency.
When leaders decide to abandon one paradigm and shift to another, it then causes seismic shifts. For now, we see that China, India, Iran, and Turkey, among themselves, they are already trading in their currencies. What does this mean? That they are sidelining the United States dollar, just these 4 countries. It means that at present, the global market is excluding 3 billion people from the US dollar dominated international system. Over 3 billion people no longer need to use the United States dollar to trade with one another.
Did you hear that? He said nearly 3 billion people, China, Turkish, they said Iran, it was another 4th one, right? Because I have an accent, he has an accent, it's kind of hard. He said that's over 3 billion people already excluded from needing to trade from the US dollar. It's not even the petrodollar anymore. Why do you think Barack Obama went in there and, Saddam Hussein and Bin Laden and all that stuff with Saudi Arabia? It lost the petrodollar status a long time ago. And it definitely can't be the petrodollar now if we have to depend on Iran and Russia to produce, and these OPEC countries to produce barrels of oil for us so our gas prices don't escalate again. So we're not even a petrodollar. We was on the petrodollar because we got Saudi to convince them, and that's a whole nother conversation. I won't get into how we did it, but it wasn't through just a round table agreement to trade their oil for the United States dollar. Russia and China has already made agreements to exchange its oil, and they're building a pipeline, and they're not accepting the United States dollar for that. So it's not even a petrodollar anymore. Let me pull that up, right? They already have a pipeline, Russia and China. The Power of Siberia gas pipeline that Russia and China are building. I'm gonna show you that real quick, and we going right back to this powerful video dropping game. People are so behind of what's going on in this world because they allow distractions. Government out, they bring out a new variant. They bring out a Donald Trump house raid. They get people to start talking about red versus blue. What's going on with Donald Trump? And this stuff right here, most people don't get. And the middle class is going to be poor, and the rich is going to become middle class. This massive map shows the massive gas pipeline that Russia and China are building, the Power of Siberia, right? This is delivering natural gas to northern China in December 2019, according to Chinese media state. It's a state-owned energy companies, Russia, China, National Petroleum Corporation, have been building. Listen, they've been building this for 8 years. 8 years. And this was released in July of this year. They released this article of July of this year. And China and Russia has been building this for 8 years. CNBC reports. For about 8 years, Russia and China National Petroleum Pipeline, it has moved far beyond the provinces on the border extended Chinese providence. This was pictured in March of 2022, and this is not accepting United States dollars. The middle phase of operations, December 2020, the final southern section to begin its gas delivery in 2025. Russia gas import, right? So the threat of losing natural gas from European Union, China has been looking to diversify its energy sources. This will not accept the United States dollars at all. All right, so let's get back to the interview. And people don't have to be distracted. They choose, they want to follow their favorite football team. It's their choice. It's your choice what you decide to be educated on and what actions to take.
This is just a fraction of the global south. I'm just talking about 4 economies here. So as more countries continue to move away from the petrodollar system, from the US euro dominancy, which uses the US dollar as the payment for oil, we expect massive inflationary pressures to strike the United States economy. But the most important thing, Leanne, is that the United States is not going to take this lying down. Of course, the United Kingdom did it when the pound sterling was usurped by the United States dollar. But I don't think that the United States will simply sit and watch and see the United States dollar being rendered a worthless currency like the Zimbabwean dollar. So we are most likely going to see a fight back. Now, going back to the theme of war, Ukraine.
He just said the United States is not going to take this lying down. He just said the United States is not going to take this where they can be like the Zimbabwe dollar. The Zimbabwe dollar now is worth nothing but taking notes. I used one the other day to write some notes on. I was at my laptop. And so this is where he's saying the implications of war is coming.
Is receiving aid from all over the West. Right now, at the last check, I think they received 60 billion. How are they going to pay back that money? This is where the issue of resources comes in. Dollar. So we are most likely going to see a fight back. Now, going back to the theme of war, Ukraine is receiving aid from all over the West. Right now, at the last check, I think they received 60 billion. How are they going to pay back that money? This is where the issue of resources comes in. Remember how the United States became rich after the war. It is because all the European countries now had to pay back the money that the United States had used to finance the war. And this is how the United States became a very strong economy. There are innuendos that the maneuvers that are happening in Taiwan are to provoke China into a type of Russian reaction so that the United States can gauge how far China is willing to go. Remember, we have never seen an angry China. China is always calm and collected, and it has not flexed its muscle, so to speak. So we are in really for a long ride, to put it that way.
We really are, and it is just getting more and more interesting, but more and more scary at the same time. Reg,
wow, that man said a whole lot. He said we never seen China flex its muscle. We are in for a war. She said we are. It's getting more and more interesting and more scary at the same time. You all I'm telling you is that this is going to be a global system reset. The Nancy Pelosi Taiwan thing, all of this stuff is brewing for this. I don't see United States, our military base backing down at all. As he said, they're not going to take it lightly, being the Zimbabwe dollar. But what I can tell you is stock up on your groceries, stock up on your silver. I have my Queen of Coin silver website there for your reference to get that silver at wholesale price, to invest in it at wholesale price, because silver, right, when this happens, they will be announcing by the ounce when this monetary reset happens, and you're going to see more and more signs that not accepting cash not accepted here. You're going to see glitches where cannot accept credit and debit card. You're going to see glitches where bank ATM deposit cannot be taken out. You're going to get emails or notifications that your bank is upgrading. Make sure that it's temporary shutdown for upgrading and other banks, and some people go back and they can't get money out at all. So am I saying take your money out, put it on the mattress? Why would you do that when it's getting devalued by the day, and when stores may not accept it? So what you want to do is maximize your cash flow instead of getting highly taxed out of your paycheck. And you want to have a taxation plan, especially for people that have been dishonest about their IRS tax refund filing. And let me just say it straight, no chaser, straight to you. You've been lying about your tax refund. And you can get a legitimate home-based business for very inexpensive, and the operating costs, you can do it legally. Now, you've been getting away for years, but let me tell you something. The IRS is coming for the poor working class. I just, read an article, whistleblower said that, and small businesses, because anywhere they can get money and find that people have been lying and misrepresenting and getting money back from the IR to the S, even with these PPP loan scams, they are going to get it back because they have to finance a war. I don't think people know that the government they only get money from working people, from taxes. They're not producing anything. They don't have a product to sell to get money. You are the product. That's why at the job, you're called the human resource. This is why when you have issues when it comes to your pay or your coworker, you are to go, they guide you to the human resource department. So they got to get the money somewhere to finance this. There are IRS hikes penalties for underpaying taxes. So you can think it's a game. You can go in the barbershop and talk about that you read about the 1939 Bretton Woods. You can come on here and you can put your numbers in and you don't know what they mean all you want to. But if you don't make changes and if you don't take action, you're going to desperately wish that you get out of your spiritual world and learn how to operate in this earth realm. Spiritual knowledge does you no good if you don't know how to operate in the earth realm at all. So the penalty for underpaying your taxes is about to sting a bit more than in the past. You think the government is playing with you right now? Keep playing games. Keep lying to the government, telling them you have a business when you don't. Keep lying and just going to LegalZoom and getting LLCs and C Corps and you don't operate a business. And they come ask you for your bookkeeping records. Keep lying and saying you have a home-based business when you cancel your subscription 3 months ago because your mindset wasn't right. And now you want to claim that on the Schedule C. And they come back and say, okay, show us proof that you have that business. And you can't because you canceled it. Also, American farmers, I told you all about this. I don't know about you all, but my local grocery store, they have beans and tuna on sale. That's scary because canned beans, baked beans, and tuna is survival food. They have it right at the front of the store in Kroger. The packs of tuna are 10 for 10. The Bush's baked bean are like 2 for $4. And they have it right in the front entrance of the store. And that's survival food. American farmers are killing their own crops and selling cows because of extreme drought. Right? This year's drought conditions are taking it harder than last year. 37% of farmers said they are plowing through and killing existing crops that won't reach maturity because of dry conditions. That's a 24% last year from last year, people. The top 10 for every state in the West, except for Montana, right? Killing their crops. Texas, North Dakota, California, extreme drought conditions. That makes up half of this country's agricultural production. You all, I'm logging off because I want to make this live stream as short as I can to encourage people to hit the play button that was not live. And again, thank you so much, 757, for the super chat, right? But if you want these tax deductions, we have approximately 4 months left in the year. If you want to increase your cash flow, if you want to get a CFA or a CPA, you're a small business owner, you want to make sure you have your bookkeeping right. Text cash flow to the number on the screen. Also, if you want to increase your credit score, this is for serious people only, right? And Queen of Silver, again, if you want to get your silver at wholesale, when this happens, you're going to need it. Also, let's keep updated on the Ethereum September the 15th date as Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake. Study and research ERC tokens. You all thought I was playing. This dollar just fell. But you all probably thought I was playing about the Zimbabwe dollar. I used it to take notes. I don't know if you can see it. See that blue ink on the bottom of that bear and the top. This is my paper. I took some notes on it. I went to the Bitcoin conference in Miami, and I got a whole stack of these. Because most people don't think the United States dollar can do that. We are headed there, people. We are there. And again, thank you all my faithful followers. Share this information. I don't know a better video that could have explained it, starting with Bretton Woods, and pay attention to China's global economy. Now, we know that when C19 came up on the screen, Anthony's ERC20, ERC20 tokens. Those that are connected to Ethereum, because those tokens should get gains as well. Anything that runs on the Ethereum blockchain. Me personally, I'm not getting any Ethereum Classic, any ETC, because I'm not sure that the miners, see, proof of work requires miners or people to mine that crypto. I'm not sure if Ethereum miners will move to ETC to mine. And then there are other ERC20 tokens that run on the Ethereum blockchain that are cheaper. We'll look at crypto real quick. But listen, China's bank set to cut banks' interest rates. People, also the government announced that there will be another basis point increase for next month. That's in September. Right, that's in September. So the crypto market is pretty red today. Not big losses, but some losses. And I always tell people, you're supposed, if you want to get rich, this is when you get in the red. You never get in the green. That's basic elementary. I can teach this to a kindergarten. I can teach this to kindergarten and first graders. Right? This is an interesting article. Let's look at this real quick. I saw floating at the bottom. But, that's basic investing principles. Most people, when they see it in the green and going up, they get in and then it crashes and then they have a paper loss. Right? Let's look at this real quick. Thank you so much, Richard. I have some new people that come on the live stream tonight. Thank you all so much. And you all coming in and saying and giving me compliments, I really appreciate it, because I'm going to be honest with you all. I have 37,400 subscribers, but I was really getting tired of the old people, because I think they get so used to me and what I'm saying that they don't take action. and they just come on here for the entertainment. But I want you to get edutainment as well. I want you to get educated and take action and take this serious. Not just come on my live stream and say, hey, Queen, you know, I love it. But my daughter just walked in. I get that attention from little kids. I promise I do. They call me coach though. And it's so cute, but they think I'm the best thing in the world because I let them have fun and yell and do all this stuff. So I appreciate it, right? But you all, I'm telling you this, I take out my time. I do things because I want you to understand where we are headed. So Bitcoin miners in Texas are getting paid not to mine Bitcoin. In July 9, what exactly are power credits? And as Bitcoin miners flock to Texas, one of the toughest things they've contended with is the heat. In July, however, mining from Riot Blockchain showed it's possible to cash in on it by not mining Bitcoin. The company reported in its July report that due to the heat, it cut the power a number of times in that month, that the shutdowns were a big reason behind a 28% drop in Bitcoin mined compared with June. But it received 9.5 million power credits. Other benefits from grid operator or a utility company for shutting down periods of high demands that resulted from a heat wave significantly outweighed and decreased Bitcoin in production. So, ERCOT, Electronic Reliability Council of Texas, air traffic controller, asking large power users to turn off or curtail their power whenever grids are tight. And so, okay. Non-controllable, controllable load resources. So in other words, people, they're just going to have a way to mine Bitcoin, even with Bitcoin being proof of work, which means proof of work is anytime it takes man-made energy to make more Bitcoin, right? To make more Bitcoin. So versus natural energy and things that are eco-friendly. So I'll just do more than that. I want to stay top of the list. I'm telling you all, if you just came into this live stream, please watch the beginning. Watch this interview about BRICS. You're going to understand more and more where we are headed because of where we've been, right? Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for tuning in as well. You and Anthony on Facebook. Thank you, Richard. Richard says I started investing. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Richard. Hello, Queen in chat. About 250 here, only a few likes. You all make sure you hit the thumbs up. When my daughter comes in, I kind of like to get off the live stream. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But she celebrated her birthday yesterday. So you all just put in the comments, happy birthday. Her name is Kayla, right? It's a belated birthday, but it's still a birthday wish. And I'll show her in the comments. Great. Robert Kiyosaki. He's definitely my mentor. This is where I learned the cash flow quadrant from. And this is why I learned how to help people get more money out their paychecks, small business owner. And this is why I have to text cash flow to the number on the screen. It is based off of Robert Kiyosaki's. Thank you so much, Richard, teaching and his implementation. In fact, my website, is from his design, the Millionaire's Game Plan. If you look at Robert Kiyosaki's, one of his cash flow website is similar. So I'm definitely his student. He's my mentee as well, and I implement that and teach it. But I just do it in a. Yes, it's Kayla. Thank you so much, you all, for the birthday wishes. Thank you, Miss Weech. In a non-traditional way. Thank you. So I will show her this live stream and let her know that you all wished her a happy birthday. And thank you for sharing 2 times on Facebook. Thank you, Jennifer. Anthony, thank you for sharing. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, you all, thank you for the thumbs up. You all visit their website, Crypto Queen 1111. But in order to prepare for this financial reset and get more cash flow, text cash flow to 788-1144, and visit queenofcoinsilver.com. Love you all. Be blessed. And let's get ready for this greatest wealth transfer that this generation has ever experienced, you all. It's going to be turbulence, but it's going to be exciting once you are prepared, all at the same time. We don't get these opportunities. I want to emphasize this, right? We don't get these opportunities. You're going to see things like JFK, what his blood in 1963 for the silverback, right? And that's what 757 Trucker gave the super chat to. We're going to see this. We're going to see JFK, the 1963, and Executive Order 11110, the U.S. Treasury to a silver certificates. We're going to see all of this come to pass. We're going to see Martin Luther King, the poor man's campaign is going to come to pass, but you have to be prepared. This is action oriented. That's going to have to happen. He wanted, 90% silver, right? He wanted silver-backed dollars and currency. People, but you have to be prepared. It's just not going to fall from the sky. It's happened. The prophecy is here. The predictions are here. The predictions are here. Now you have to have proven action steps, right? Thank you all. I love you all. Be safe out there. Keep stacking your silver, cash flow, and your foods that have long shelf life. Queen out.